Greetings live from the CX Therapy Studio, CX Therapy Special Edition.
How are you doing today?
Julien, I'm doing well. And how are you? How's Paris, the city of lights? What's up? How are you feeling?
Well, everything's good. However, I feel like, organizing that new format that we've been working on for a while, having all this fancy guests and everything is great, but I didn't have a chance to whine about my own stuff for a while. And I thought...
Oh, I love this idea. I've been having the exact same thing. I've got a big pile of stories. I really want to share them. But I want to think about it. Have you got one you can share today?
I have one. I've prepared the special edition logo, and then I have something. It's not something special. I mean, it's not unique. It's kind of something we've touched in the past, but it's kind of symptomatic of a bigger problem. And being who you are, meaning a travel expert, I thought I would share that one with you. I came to the US a few months ago. You and I had a fancy dinner. I had no voice at the time. I got sick in the plane, but we had some good time. And I stayed in a hotel. And this is not, my typical lovely boutique hotel. When I travel for business, I go for the big chains so that you know exactly what to expect, where you go. Everyone knows it. The taxi drivers know exactly where to go, and there is no surprise. So I decided to go to the exact same hotel I usually go whenever I come to San Francisco. And without naming it, let's just say that convenience is so key to me that there's nowhere SF Central District is actually just next to the airport.
Okay.
And
it's
that's
all
a
about
big
getting around sometimes. That makes a ton of sense.
Exactly. So I went to that hotel, and what happened is everything had changed. I mean, I went there once, I believe, during the pandemic, and the level of service had dropped significantly, but it was a pandemic. So it kind of expected. But now 2024, that trip took place late 2023, like towards the very end of 2023. I mean, the pandemic has been over for a while. You still have cases here and there, but nothing compared to what we had in the early 2021, right? So I was not in the same mindset where I would accept anything. And basically 3 things have happened. The first one, I believe it happened already during the pandemic, was that I did not have free Wi-Fi anymore. I had either the paid Wi-Fi, or I had an option for free Wi-Fi if I would register, give them my email address, fill a bunch of forms, get the slow version of the Wi-Fi, and accept to receive all of their newsletters, which is, again, it's not 2001, it's 2023 at the time of the story. What are we talking about here? So that was very frustrating. The second thing that just killed me was bottles of water. And you and I had a conversation about this. That was your story.
Yeah.
They would offer they would provide 2 bottles of water. The first one, the tiny one, I don't know the brands, American brands I'm not familiar with. The first tiny one was free of charge. The second one next to it, slightly bigger, was $9 a bottle. I mean, I'm not even paying that for Coke. I'm not even paying that probably for a cocktail in the US. I'm not paying that for a cocktail in France.
Yeah, cocktails are more like 15, or a big beer at the ballpark is probably 20 at this point.
But I'm talking water here. It's not fancy water. It's mineral water. I mean, $9 just, and it's not chilled water or anything. That's, there's nothing special about it. I'm sure they bought it for 10 cents. And then the third thing that happened to me that was just the last straw for me was I booked what I always book with them, which is the only thing I truly enjoy when I travel, is a fancy breakfast. And they used to have, I mean, the breakfast, if you buy it on your own, it's just plain crazy. I think you pay $40 or something, which again, you're going to tell me is normal price in the US. Just insane to me. So 40 or $50 for a nice breakfast, but the breakfast is incredibly good. Plenty of food, a lot of variety of different items, very nice environment and everything. So whenever I travel there, they always have a package with breakfast included. So I always tell the agency, just take a breakfast, because anyway, I'm going to have breakfast. It's probably going to be more expensive for me to pick it outside. It's a package, they take it. The package is identical to what we used to have, but now instead of going to the ground floor lounge, fancy restaurant, nice breakfast place with view and the lighting and the fancy food, now for the exact same price, you go to the fourth floor in a room with barely any window that used to be a conference room, that now has a couple of machines to make coffee with a few dry pastries in a corner and a few slices of fruits, and it has nothing fancy anymore. I mean, I would get something much nicer for cheaper at Starbucks. And, the whole experience of, I need to travel, I have jet lag, I'm tired, I need to work, but who cares? I have that fancy breakfast. Just ruined with a new thing. The package, it's not cheaper, it's not better, it's the same price for a worse experience. Is that just me, or that's frustrating?
No, how could that possibly be just you? That's horrid. I'm going to pick at the edges, and then we'll get to the really meaty breakfast part.
All right.
What struck me as you were talking about all the nickel and diming is how airline-like that is. You charge to check a bag, and you charge to do this, and they charge for the food, and I had this really strong feeling of just, okay, we're going to take this, we're going to charge you for this, we're going to charge you for that. $9 for a bottle of water. Tap water is probably every bit as good in San Francisco as it would be in the bottle anyway. So that part's irritating in and of itself. Man, I mean, and there was nothing in the description that said this is only a continental breakfast. There was no warning that they had ruined that experience.
They introduce the breakfast the exact same way. The only difference is once you check in, usually, I did not even pay attention when the lady did the check-in, because I know exactly where the breakfast is. But suddenly she said it's on the third floor, and I was like, oh, that's changed. It's not the same place. And I arrived on the third floor on the first day, and I'm like, there is no breakfast place here. There's a conference room. Oh, hold on. They put a label breakfast on the conference room. It's going to suck. And it did.
Were they under construction? I mean, that's that. I could see if they were tearing that apart and this was a temporary thing. But boy, they would have said something if that was the case.
No, the restaurant was still open, and you still had the breakfast in the restaurant. It was just no longer part of the package. So I'm thinking it's probably the kind of place where the restaurant is a different brand, and they used to have a partnership of sort, and probably did not make sense financially anymore, and they would rather have a cheap version to have higher margin. I guess, because there was no explanation whatsoever.
Wow. I can't come up with any defense for that at all. Whatsoever. I mean, I get a reluctance to communicate clearly that your wonderful breakfast now sucks, but there's not put on your big boy pants and own it. You need to be clear about something like that. That was not a full breakfast. That was not having something, calling it the exact same thing and giving you an infinitely inferior experience, that's the thing that's just grating. I mean, selling you a cheaper breakfast, okay, and you can decide if you want to just pony up the extra money and go to the place there, or at least you'd know, okay, I'll go to Starbucks, as you said before. And
that's what was lacking. That was two things: proactive communication, which is a problem we keep coming up with on pretty much every episode, and options. I mean, it's okay if that's the new standard package. Let me know that there is another option, or let me know that to get the traditional breakfast I'm used to, because I've been there 10 times. They should know me by now. I mean, I'm kind of a regular customer at this point. I haven't been around for a while because of the pandemic, but I came so many times they should know me. and they should know that I'm used to that breakfast. You should give me an option or tell me if you want to cancel your package, you can have a breakfast there. It's going to be more expensive. It didn't feel right.
No, that's really bad. There's all just the basic communication and stuff, but then there's just this is CX, customer experience, and that is a experience that makes you feel like dirt.
It definitely makes me feel hungry, at least. I don't know if it makes me feel like dirt. And it's the accumulation of things. I mean, the breakfast on its own pretty much was a last nail in the coffin. And on its own, it would have been bad enough that I would have been pissed anyway. But adding that with the Wi-Fi, I mean, I come for business. It's an airport hotel.
Right.
Who is going to an airport hotel beside people traveling for business? I mean, tourists, they don't stay at the airport. They go to San Francisco, or they go to Napa Valley or whatever. They don't stay at the hotel. It's for business. If you come for business, you're probably going to need Wi-Fi at some point. And charging for Wi-Fi in 2024 is ridiculous. And providing a subpar Wi-Fi that requires a bunch of forms to fill. If what you really care about is collecting people's data, which I get. I mean, I'm a marketer by heart, so getting people's data, I understand the value. But give me something in exchange that's valuable. Don't blackmail me into paying something, right? I don't know. It just does not feel right.
Paying something. It'd be one thing if you got. It's weird to say. You got the good Wi-Fi. That I could see forcing you to jump through some hoops for, but yeah, you got to go through a bunch of stuff, and you're going to get the slow, bad experience. That's just double whammy.
Right.
It's just not. None of this is okay. None of this is okay. It's interesting, the parallel of you can get the little water for free, or you can get the big water for $9. You can get the little internet for free if you give a bunch of stuff away. You can get the big internet if you spend whatever it was.
Yeah, it feels like bad upsell strategy. It really does.
Callous and ham-handed.
You know, in the same way, they should have had an option that is, here is a cheap breakfast. You know what you're going to get. It's going to be limited, but it's included in your package, or, you know, a limited add-on or whatever. And here is a fancy breakfast. Unfortunately, we used to offer it for $15. Now it's $30, whatever. But give me that option. Give me clarity. Give me proactive communication. Give me options. They gave me none of that. And quite frankly, now I think I'm going to rethink going to that hotel moving forward, because I'm pretty sure there must be a few other hotels nearby the airport. And I mean, that's the second bad experience I've had. I was forgiving last time because that was a pandemic. Right. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the same thing this time. I think I'm just going to move somewhere else.
You know, what you're saying strikes me as like the big chains. They'll have their main brand, and then they'll have the cheaper brands. Like, you know, Marriott and Courtyard, or Hilton and Hampton Inn and things like that. And usually the lower end brands, the sort of breakfast, you know, the new breakfast option, that's part of the package. And they make a big deal, you know, oh, you get free breakfast. It may not be great, but it's free. And then, you know, sometimes there's more breakfast options. Sometimes that's all there is. There's a Denny's nearby somewhere. And it's just interesting that they're trying to swap out this lower end experience that, you know, within that company, they're giving away. And now they're charging you for it as if it was, this is awful. I'm sorry. On behalf of the Bay Area, I apologize.
You'd be a perfect representative. Well, you know, to me, it boils down to be clear and transparent. Options that make sense for your audience, and know your audience. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they have business travelers, so they should have, you know, options to have quick breakfast. Makes sense, because you probably have people who have meetings starting early. They need to jump in a cab or whatever. So quick options are good, but you need to have options, and you need to be transparent, and you need to provide Wi-Fi. I mean, that should be the last time ever we have this kind of conversation. 2024 should be the year where Wi-Fi is an obvious thing. I mean, I could not imagine a hotel where you can have the option to have a pillow for $5 more. I mean, right? So
Or
Wi-Fi.
sheets on the bed.
Exactly. You have the room, but for $20 more, you even have a bed. Just think about it, how ridiculous, right? So Wi-Fi should be one of those given things that come along: a shower and a bed and some lighting in the room. I really hope that the last time we have this discussion.
Me too. Hopefully the hotels are listening. We can get an answer.
But
Yeah.
it will not be a follow-up story. I won't go there to tell you if they've improved
They
anything.
fixed
That was
it
the
or
last
ruined
one.
it or whatever. All right. I don't blame you. I think you're well loined to not go back there. There's good, if it's by the San Francisco airport, there are dozens of options. So it's not like you have to stay there.
Exactly. So thank you for listening. Thank you for making me feel better about it. And I'll let you know next time I'm in the US what hotel I've picked and what kind of experience I've got.
Sounds good. Thanks for sharing your pain.
Thank you, and talk to you, well, whenever I have another story to share, or maybe that will be yours next time.
Okay. Well, I've got one in my pocket. I'll think it through, and next time we get a chance, I'll get my turn on the couch.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much, Max. Talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye.